running at the time too, and if I trust them, then I would just let it go. If I don't trust them,
I don't think it
he's
is.
been pretty vocal about him being done. He didn't know what he was getting into. We tried to tell him, but didn't really understand it all.
Hey,
It's not fun.
budgeted
Thank
wages.
job, and nobody cares about the good things you do.
That was
So much about the bad things.
current year's budget. 400, almost 400,000. That's the wage increase. Police was 260,000 by itself. You said something about 50.
But I was thinking about the ones from like when we did
Oh, I know. But like the
other
entire
departments.
organization of it, like,
because we've done 3 adjustments in the last 5 years.
Okay. Well, this last year's was almost 400,000 for 1 year. With the different,
next year,
I mean, everybody got a 5% increase, and then the police got an additional 10.
Yeah, that was the contract negotiation on there.
What's going on here? Can't figure out how to get rid of this. Well, I haven't figured out this app that. What?
Yeah, if you start the slideshow.
Yeah, then it won't do that. I can do that. Oh, except I haven't gone to broadcast. I could go do that.
good morning. Evening.
Hold on. You can't get. Information on Okay, he's he's involved in some decent amount of volunteer activity in the community. I think I saw his name listed with a volunteer group.
Don't have much today. Hey, Celeste.
Something's- I like this. I don't know if that's a perfume smell or what. Just like that smell.
Well, it's not smoke.
No.
I can't smell anything.
Oh, that's right. You said
She put
that.
some lotion on.
Is that the lotion?
She said it smelled like that smell. I said, let me see.
My eyes are bugging me.
Next time, everything's. I know. Maybe I'll, if I.
You got like 4 or 5 different modes of concerns here, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I didn't know. Here we go. I'd like to call to order the City Council meeting, September 4th, 2025, 5:30 PM at 501 Main Street. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have a roll call?
Crenshaw,
Here.
Walker.
Here.
Mullen, Cackley,
Here.
Dade. Andrews.
Here.
Tillman.
Here.
Bryant,
Here.
Greenwald,
Here.
all present.
Item number 4, Mayor's Correspondence. Friday, September 5th, 2025, Wood Fire Pizza Night at the Hawthorne's Elementary School from 4:30 to 7 p.m. And the Keokuk Chiefs football game will be at Mediapolis, Iowa at 7:30 p.m. Saturday, September 6th, 2025, the Keokuk Farmers Market from 8 to 11 a.m. at the Keokuk Mall parking lot. And then hanging at the Hy-Vee Car Cruise will be from 11 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. with food, the bounce houses, DJ music by Rock and Roll Express, a car show, trophies, and much, much more. Music by the Southern Rail Band at Sweet Sally's at 7 p.m. And Sunday, September 7th, 2025, music by the Lesters at the New Beginnings Church at 10 a.m. Standing Bear Council will be meeting at the Hawkeye Restaurant at 1 o'clock p.m. And there'll be music by Stumptown at the Southside Boat Club from 2 to 5 p.m. Then moving a little bit forward, on Monday, September 15th, the Oddfellows will be having a fundraiser at their building at 1720 Blondo Street. There'll be smash burgers, chips, and water to drink, and it is fundraiser, and I think it's $6 and $8 depending on what size sandwich you get. Then just to reach out, the month of September is Firefighter Appreciation Month, so make sure you let your firefighters know you appreciate them. Don't wait till your house is on fire. Let them know you like them now. And as always, eat, drink, and shop local. And one more thing, there's still time to take out your papers for council seats. Ward 1, Ward 3, Ward 5, Ward 7, at-large 1, and for the mayor position. Please think about running and serving your community, and your papers need to be back in by September 18th. Item number 5, citizens' request. If you have something that you'd like to speak to the council about, you may approach the podium, state your name and your address, try to take no more than 3 to 5 minutes. If there's more than one person that wants to talk about the same thing, please try not to be too repetitive. So if there's anybody here, please come forward. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay. Hi there, my name is Corbin Schrader, and we are back to see if there's been anything, any discussion on the street of 2467 Garfield Avenue. Sherry Samuels spoke at the last meeting on our behalf. We were requesting a speed reduction to 10 miles per hour and would actually be happy with 15. Our current street is a dead end, which is 100 yards long, and the current speed limit is 25 miles per hour. We are also requesting a slow child at play sign to be put up. There is constant traffic coming down our dead end. We are having a ton of people that are whipping into our driveway with excessive speeds. This is becoming a big issue with us and our children even playing in our front yard or checking the mailbox. We have other children that live on the street along with elderly. We contacted our councilman in our ward, and he kindly stopped by to check out the street himself. He stated that the road was in bad condition already and that 25 miles was pretty excessive for as short as the dead end was, and that speed bumps would be a good suggestion for this particular dead end. We have not yet heard from anyone on this matter and was simply wondering if any discussion has been made on the issue. If you have any further questions, you may contact myself or my husband, Dylan Schrader, and I would like to thank you all for your time this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will be installing a kids at play sign out there. As far as the speed limit, that would take more discussion with the PD and Pam and have to go through a whole ordinance process, so I don't believe that's been discussed in-house yet.
We've done directed patrol out in that area, Lincoln Avenue and Garfield, both over the years when we've had some complaints out there, and there has not, during that directed patrol, been a lot of speeding to the point of a citation being warranted. My comment would be that we would need to do a traffic study to really gather some data and really look at the need for that. I understand that you guys living there, you may see what feels like really frequent, and it may be frequent. I'm not saying that it's not, but it feels more frequent because you're there all the time, as opposed to us providing directed patrol for an hour at a time here or there. There may be no cars, there might be 3 cars, there might be 20, depending on what's going on. So that would be my comment, is if we're going to adjust the speed limit out there, we should look at doing an actual traffic study and gather the data.
That would be appreciated.
Do we still have the wagon that shows the speed limit or the speed the cars are going?
We do not. We haven't had that for years. The trailer, the speed trailer.
Like stated the last time, the company RIM has bought a house at the very end of the street, and there's 4 residents living in that house, and they have 24-hour care, and there's constant traffic with them. And I've contacted them and asked them personally to not drive as fast down that street. I gave it a week, and then I also contacted the company. And then after that, I contacted the police on the matter. I mean, it's not only them, but
Becoming more frequent.
Is there a particular time of day where you're seeing more traffic?
it's just, I mean.
Just
they're in and out,
feels
you know?
constant?
Yeah.
Okay. And is it more going towards the REM house or towards the golf course out there?
No,
or
it's
was it
coming down our dead end, yeah. I
right
mean,
down your dead end?
Yeah, even FedEx, they just fly the minute they get on that road. I mean, we've had to replace our driveway, our Morton building from it being completely hit.
Okay.
Essentially, anyone that's directed towards the end of that dead end road.
They don't see the dead end sign, so they're constantly whipping in, pulling out, whipping in, pulling out.
They've
Okay.
applied to get to the end of the dead end only to slow down, which to me is also, more destructive to the road itself.
Sure,
To
sure.
Accelerate
Absolutely.
only to slow down.
Okay. Well, I mean, the council can make a decision on reducing the speed without a speed study or without a traffic study if they so wish. But I think the appropriate way to go about it is to conduct a traffic study and really gather the data and then allow them to make a determination, with the most information available.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, anybody else?
Hello, Todd Marshall, 516 Orleans Avenue. Me and my sister-in-law were out at Indian Hills and was approached by a neighbor saying that I'm on crew was behind her house looking at his wife. I'm wondering, has this crew been checked for work permits? Or, yeah. That's all I want.
Okay. Of course, I can't say, whether that really happened or not. What I have seen, like they went down the alley where we live, and I've seen them going down a number of the streets out by where my son lives and that, and they are doing a very, very professional job. They're digging and they are covering back up and seeding and putting the straw back over it and everything. It just seems to me that they've been doing a very professional, hardworking job. I can't say if that happened or didn't happen, but
Right.
the people that are in charge of IMON have been here several times, and we have signed contract with them, and I believe that they're probably working the best they can and doing the best they can. Whether one person did something wrong or not,
Yeah,
I can't
it's
tell
always
you
one or
that.
two that's gonna,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
But I will tell you, what I've seen is very
Oh,
professional.
and I do too. I believe that. But still, it comes down to they have work permits to
To
even
to
work.
answer the permit question, they are permitted through the city. They submit on a regular basis every area they're going to be in.
Yeah.
And then we review that and then approve their permits.
Okay.
That comes from IMON.
Yeah.
From their offices.
All right.
But most of the people in town are subs to IMON, so we're issuing a permit
Yeah.
And then they're responsible for their subcontractors.
Okay.
They will actually be meeting with us next Tuesday, and I'll bring that up in the meeting with them, just so they're aware.
All right.
They typically like to hear everything, good and bad, that's going on with all their crews in town, so.
Sure. Yeah, but where they were approached when they were working out here by the street, had no reason to go behind this lady's house, and they have a swimming pool, to be two of them back there looking at in that area. That's what I was approached by,
Okay,
and just wondering about the permits, but thank you.
no problem. Thank you for coming.
I would also offer for anybody listening, if there's any issues with I'm on and any concerns of that nature, call the police department. We'll come out, we'll talk to them, and, okay. Okay.
And I would just say as Brian kind of discussed this a little bit, not only is it I'm on crews that are out, but as they go and do locates, there are separate locate crews that are going out. City crew is out, the water department is out, but then you have crews that are going out for both electric and gas that are doing locates, and anywhere they have lines, they will be going out and doing locates, and you'll see them doing that in rear yards, et cetera, depending on where utilities are. We have had a few different calls come into City Hall in regards to concerns about different things that are going on, and IMON has tried to address all of them. They've had a crew that they took off a project for a couple of weeks because they weren't doing things appropriately. So, I mean, they do want to try to be responsive and work through any issues that come up, so.
And I just wanted to say that, and Jim referred to it, a lot of the subdivisions, if there's no alleys, there's utility right-of-ways in the rear of the properties. So you can come in and look at the subdivision map if you want to see if there are actual utility easements in those areas.
Thank you. Mr. Nye?
I'm back on my own. Mine's Chad Nye. I live on Lincoln Avenue, 2413. I'm back about my road again. I have a few things to say about it. I've been out there 46 years had a driveway on that property, and the road's over 100 years old, and there's been no improvements for that period. It's one lane wide, block 20, that's block 24. Block 23 is also one lane wide. And I was told that money had been appropriated by TIF to make it 2 lanes wide, but the money went to Lincoln Avenue from Johnson Street Road to 31st Street. Lincoln Avenue from Johnson Street Road to 31st Street is 2 lane, nice concrete. Lincoln Avenue from Cleveland Avenue to 20th Street, both opposite ends, and I'm in the middle, is all hard surface and 2 lanes wide. I just kind of wondered, why those 2 blocks haven't been, in 100 years, haven't been worked on. And the 2 blocks of 1 lane road make it difficult for the fire truck and ambulance to get in together for a call. Numerous times, my neighbor right across the street has had the ambulance and the fire truck there, and the fire truck always gets there first and comes up on the shortest route on Kilbourne and up. And the ambulance has pulled down many times on Kilbourne and had to back up and go out and go around and come in off Johnson Street Road and then up into the driveway, which I don't care too much for. You need to be able to pass on a road. It's just a 1 lane road, and when people are coming down it, you just have 1 lane and you have to get over as far as you can and then stop, and then they go by. And I would think in this day and age, all the roads in Keokuk should be 2 lanes wide, I would think. And I talked to the city for 31 years about it. 31 years ago, I asked the public works director to come out and look at it, and he come out and he said, not at this time. 20 years ago, the city came and cut 7 trees down. 4 of them were on easement property, 3 of them were on my property. So I called the street department superintendent out, and he told me he was gonna have it surveyed. That was 28 years ago. Nothing ever happened. June 2020, I called the Public Works Director out to come out and talk to him about it. And he said, yeah, it needs work. He said, he was new at that time, and he said, give me a little while and I'll get back with you. And I said, okay, that's fine. So I waited 2 more years, and I called him up, and him and Kathy come out and they looked it over. And we went down on block 23, which is the closest one to the Oaks. And I discussed the dirt on one half of the road. On the east half of the road is still all dirt. And I told him that in order to save money, he could just, if he cleaned it off, he could just put it over on my property on the other side because I could use it. And it would save him a couple trucks hauling it, and all he'd have to haul is gravel in. And you were there with him, and he agreed to do that. Matter of fact, what he said was, give me a month or 2 and I'll get it taken care of for you. You and him are right there, right on that. And matter of fact, I come to the meeting down here on July 7th, 2022, and I asked him about it at the meeting, and he agreed to do it. He said, yeah, he would do it and stuff. And so, anyway, I think that may be all I've got. Let me see. Oh, okay, I've got some comments for a couple weeks ago. When I come down to the meeting, there was some, I wasn't here for it, but I saw them. There were some after comments stated on it and about surveying it. And people were asking, did I want the city to pay for the survey, or was I trying, or would I have to pay for the survey or whatever? How did I want to do it or whatever? And I don't want, and they asked about my property being surveyed. I don't want my property surveyed. I don't think you survey, when you survey for a road, I don't think you survey everybody's property coming up and down the side of the road. I think you survey just the straight lines of a road. If it's 2 blocks long, I think you survey 2 blocks long on it and stuff. And if I'm responsible for when you survey in front of my house, I'll pay for it. As long as all the other neighbors and everyone else pays for it, I'll pay for it. But if not, then the city can pay for it. Okay, and the hydrants, the fire hydrants, I think you were talking about the fire hydrants, right? And you weren't sure about them and stuff. Well, I measured them. I went back and measured them. And they're all in the easement. And they're all in a straight line down Lincoln Avenue, clear down to Cleveland Avenue. So that was put in, they were put in right. So they wouldn't have to be touched. The fire hydrants wouldn't. Somebody mentioned the front porch on a house. Was that you, Roger? What porch were you talking about? Bawden's, the old house, the old original house, Strohmeyer's old house. Okay, yeah, well, I don't know about that. That's between you guys. I'm just asking for block 23 and 24 is all I'm talking about. And I can't understand, like I say, why it hasn't been, something been done to it, made 2 lanes wide anyway in this day and age. Okay, the trees. I got comments on the trees. The trees are in the road. And I'm not asking for the neighbors. Somebody said, oh, well, the neighbors want their trees. Well, I'm not asking to take the neighbors' trees out. I'm not asking to take the neighbors' trees out on their portion of the easement on that road. I'm asking the city to take the trees out on what they call a road right-of-way, where the road is positioned in the center of the easement, and you have easement on both sides. The road right-of-way, the easement, from what I've been told, is for utilities. And it's supposed to be even on both sides, the easement is. The road right-of-way is supposed to be for the road itself, and it can vary in width, but it's supposed to be for the road. And the trees won't affect the neighbors at all because none of them belong to them. They belong to, actually, even on the easement, they belong to the city. But I'm not asking you to take them off of their easement or my easement or anything, just out of the road right of way. They're right down the middle of the 2 blocks of the road. If I'm taking up too much time, you can let me know here. I'm about done.
Okay.
Let's see. And as far as the groundwork on the road, actually, all of block 23 is just a matter of grading the dirt off of it and putting the gravel on it to make the road 2 lanes wide. Block 24, there's 6 lots that are level with the road, and then there's roughly 3 lots that would have to be knocked down some, and then the rest of it to Johnson Street Road, all it has to be is the trees off of it and leveled out. There's not, as far as dirt work, there's not a whole lot of dirt work to be done on it. I don't think, anyway. You can look at it, and you're only going over, from the road, you're only going over about 25 feet. And the comments were made about the neighbors on the west side driveways. Well, they've got a fairly steep driveway now. It's not bad, but it's an incline. And that, if it was done right, that wouldn't change. If a person took it over, they could just extend it out a little more and give it a little more length, and it would lower the hill on it, from what I gather. But, and same way with block 23 up at the end where McCarty used to live. That hill, we discussed that hill there, and you said something about putting a wall up there on it and stuff like that, but it's pretty steep right now, and it's growing grass, and he mows it, and I can't see where you couldn't take that and taper it enough to put grass on without having to put a wall on it. It doesn't have a wall on it right now. So, what I'm looking for is just, I'd just like to have it surveyed, like the street superintendent or supervisor told me. And I'd like to have block 23 maybe worked on, maybe some of the trees cut. I'm not in any hurry. I've waited 46 years for that. And but just in the next year or 2, working on, and maybe with the street department where they can cut a few trees. There's about 15 of them that are dead in the middle of the road anyway, but just maybe work that in somehow and stuff. I'm sure the church up there, if you started cutting up there at that end on Johnson Street Road, where you got the line of trees and brush, I'm sure the church would allow you to chop one down and drag it over in the 2 or 3 lots that are there and cut it up and stuff, if you just replaced it back like it was and stuff. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Any questions?
Anybody? Okay,
Okay,
thank you. Anybody else then? Item number 6, the consent agenda. Regular minutes of the regular council meeting of August 21st, 2025. Resolution approving a liquor license for Dollar General number 2385, 300 Main Street, Class B retail alcohol license, effective September 21st, 2025. Resolution approving a liquor license for the Lake Cooper Foundation Big Dam Street Festival, 8 North Water Street, Class C retail alcohol license, term of 5 days, effective September 24th through the 29th, 2025. Reappointment of Victor McCunis to the Historic Preservation Commission, term to expire September 1st, 2028. And I need a motion to pay the bills and transfers listed in the registers numbers 5492 through 5494. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 7, Now is the time and place for a public hearing on a proposed amendment and restated Twin Rivers Urban Renewal Plan in the city of Keokuk, state of Iowa. The public hearing notice was published in the Daily Gate City on August 19th, 2025. I am opening the public hearing at 5:55 PM. Public hearing on the proposed amendment number 8 to the amended and restated Twin Rivers Urban Renewal Plan. Resolution determining an area of the city to be an economic development and blighted area, and that the rehabilitation, conservation, redevelopment, development, or a combination thereof of such area is necessary in the interest of the public health, safety, or welfare of the residents of the city, designating such area as appropriate for the urban renewal projects, and adopting the amendment number 8 to the amended and reinstated Twin Rivers Urban Renewal Plan. Staff recommends approval. Do we have any discussion? With no discussion, City Clerk, were there any written comments or objections, and were they received? There being no further comments or objections on this matter, I will close the public hearing at 5:56 PM. 7B, consider resolution determining an area of the city to be an economic development and blighted area, and the rehabilitation, conservation, development, or combined thereof of such area is necessary in the interest of the public health, safety, or welfare of the residents of the city, designated such area as appropriate for urban renewal projects, and adopting amendment number 8 to the amended and reinstated Twin River Urban Renewal Plan. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Is there any more discussion?
I would say that with this plan, what you have in your packet, it does mention that we did hold a consultation meeting with the other taxing entities. The county, the school district, and the community college were all invited. The county did send a representative, Mr. Seid, to hear what was being discussed with this amendment to the urban renewal plan. What you see in, they had no comments. They just used that as an informational to find out what we were talking about doing. As you go through the documents that are in here, there's several pages. A lot of it talks through the amendments that have occurred in the past. As you look through those previous amendments, a lot of that is consolidating different TIF areas within the city over time. What you see in this current amendment is there's no change to the area that's part of the TIF plan. There's no change to the structure of it. It's just the projects that are listed for potential funding that have been changed in here. We did add the Timea Street project, and you see that there are two different components on that. And I think that's, I wouldn't have any idea what page in your backup that is, but it's back after page 9 of the whole amendment plan documents. Page 3 then of the Exhibit 1. It lists the Timea project in two different portions, the street portion at $4 to $5 million potential cost being using TIF funds, as well as the sewer separation side, $2 to $3 million being used. I don't know that we'll use TIF funding for either of these. The street portion especially is, in particular, we already bonded for it. We potentially could, with the way this is structured, use TIF funds to pay back a portion of those bonds moving forward if we needed to. Otherwise, they're set to be in the debt service levy. In the sewer separation side, I would anticipate that sewer revenues should be able to cover it, but this gives us the flexibility depending on how revenues are, come in over the next few years. We could move around for funding sources to make this work. The only other change that was put in here, there is on page 4 of Exhibit 1, it lists using $25,000 annually to go to the general fund to cover administrative costs. Our largest administrative cost is the attorneys that help set up these plans. paying for Piper Sandler's fees, and covering staff time involved in dealing with TIF projects. So we put in there 25,000 a year for not to exceed 5 years. So that gives us authorization to build into the budget 25,000 to be transferred over the general fund each year for 5 years.
What is our current volume charge? Do we have a volume charge that we charge at the moment? You know, if we get over this over the 1,500 or whatever it is, do we currently have a volume charge?
On the sewer ordinance that will, and that's the next item on here. The
Because
volume-
that's, when I'm looking here, you know, we're on the sewer charge and you go down here, and they're basically showing the breakdown from 26 to 28. And it shows a volume charge as well. I was curious what our current rate is compared. Is it basically expanded that 3% as well? Or is it different than what the regular fee would be?
Let me.
I'm just, because somebody's going to ask me that, so I want to have an answer.
Could you hold that? I mean, you're an item ahead of where we're at right now. We're still on the TIF ordinance. And ask me that again when we get down to that in the packet and on the agenda, because
I thought that's where we were at.
that is a good question. No, that's the next item.
Oh, okay.
The next item.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 8. Motion to approve the initial reading of an ordinance to amend Code of Ordinances, City of Keokuk, Iowa, Section 1308-060 concerning Class 2 sewer rates. I need a motion to approve.
So move. Second.
The rate ordinance will implement 3 7% rate increases followed by annual 3% rate increases with rate reviews to occur every 2 years for residential customers. Large industrial customers have been and will continue to be subject to annual 10% rate increases. The reason for the residential rate increase is twofold. One is a need to keep up with the annual inflation costs. The other is to adjust revenue to allow debt service payments currently being paid by the property tax debt service levy with the sewer revenue. The goal in this area is to allow the overall property tax levy to be reduced by approximately $4.50 per 1,000 valuation, specifically for debt service. The current debt service levy is approximately $7.50 per 1,000 valuation. The intended result is to reduce the debt service levy to approximately $3 for the 1,000 valuation. The Finance Committee has discussed this proposal and staff recommends approval.
Now that question, could you repeat that question now?
Yeah, okay. I jumped again on that one. So on this, when you're looking, you know, they show January through July of 28, January 26, and it shows each year is going to go up a little bit.
Yep.
But it also shows a volume charge. Are we charging that now? And does this reflect that same basically percent increase to that, or is this something on addition we're going to do for if they would get way above what would we consider to be a normal sewer rate?
So we'll see if I can answer the question and if it gets to what you're after
Okay.
or not. So right now we have a base service charge, and then we have a per 1,000 gallon charge, which is, I can't remember what the number is. It's $7 and maybe 40 cents or something like that per 1,000 gallons. The problem that we have is that the water department measures the usage of water in 750 gallon units. So they're always doing a conversion between that 1,000 and the 750. What you see in that table is taking I looked at what the charge per 1,000 gallons was and prorated it down to what 750 gallons was, and then did the increases based off of that. So each year, both the base service charge and the volume charge would be going up about that 7%. And then the out years, both the base and the per 750 gallon volume charge would continue to go up 3%
Okay.
until the council.
This is,
makes
so
a
this
modification.
basically, we're already doing this, just this falls in line. This just gives them a number so they know as well. That's what that was my real question was,
Okay.
because I know somebody's going to ask me, hey, I didn't know we had a volume charge.
Yes, we do. We
And
already
I was
have a
pretty
volume
sure we
charge.
did, and most of them probably just haven't met that, so they haven't seen that.
Yeah, probably 45% of the customers in town don't go above the base.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Do we have any more discussion?
The customers are on septic tank. They do.
They're not charged. And there are some rules in regards to how septic tanks are done. Hopefully they're following the rules for what's going on there. I don't think that we've had a whole lot of development here to make modifications to who's on septic and who's not.
Any more discussion? So we have a first and second. I need a roll call.
I just wanted to publicly state here that one of the intents with this is to start working at getting our tax levy lowered. And so I know in conversations with Jim, the sewer rate was something that he identified that we've been using property tax dollars to cover the debt service instead of having the sewer rates cover the debt service. So that I think is what started this conversation.
Yeah,
Was
and-
shifting the money to the appropriate entity to cover that existing bill. And at the same token, this is a way that we can start chipping away at our tax rate.
Yeah, and for that background, for those who haven't heard me say that or who would like a reminder on it, our overall tax levy is $26.26 per $1,000 of valuation currently. If you were to look at the other 22 towns that are population 7,500 to 12,500 in Iowa, that's kind of similar size communities. The next highest property tax levy is just under $19, which is actually where we were back in fiscal 2023. In 3 years, we've gone from that 19 level up to this 26. And one of the main components was the debt service levy went up $5 in that time frame. This is helping to, it should get us back at close to that 450, almost back down to where we were previously. It's a start in the direction of getting us in range of being comparable to what other communities are charging. And really, it makes sense. The sewer should be covering its own costs as opposed to creating a spot where we're collecting more in property taxes than what makes sense to be.
Any more discussion? May I have a roll call?
Crenshaw.
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
Mullen. Hackley.
Aye.
Dade.
Aye.
Andrews.
Aye.
Tillman.
Aye.
Bryant.
Aye.
Greenwald.
Aye.
All ayes.
Then I will need a motion to adopt and give final approval of this ordinance.
So move.
Second.
No.
Oh,
that's
wait a
out of
minute, we
order.
got to waive the second and third. I need a motion to waive the second and third reading of the ordinance.
So move.
Any discussion? I'll need a roll call.
Crenshaw. Walker.
No.
Mullen. Hackley.
No.
Dade. Andrews.
No.
Tillman.
Aye.
Bryant.
Aye.
Greenwald.
No.
7-2 fails.
That, the part of waiving the second and third reading does not pass. Item number 9, motion to approve the reading of an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Keokuk, Iowa by adding provisions pertaining to public nudity. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We are just wanting to enact an ordinance related to public nudity. Do we have any discussion?
Pam, can you maybe go over what exactly is classified as public nudity with this proposed ordinance? Or Chief Baum? Yeah.
Yeah, so basically there was kind of a gap in coverage as far as public nudity goes with the state code. The state code requires there to be some element of sexual gratification for that to be against the law. What we're doing here is taking out the sexual gratification part and saying that it's illegal to expose your buttocks, your breasts, your pubic area to another person if you reasonably know that they can see it. Whether you're on public property or you're on private property. It covers if you're in your house and you have a big picture window and there's kids playing outside and you expose yourself. Where before it would require an element of sexual gratification to be charged under state code, this provides us with a violation under city ordinance that would allow us to enforce that. It does exclude the act of breastfeeding.
Any more discussion? I need a roll call.
Crenshaw, Walker,
Aye.
Mullen, Cackley,
Aye.
Dade,
Aye.
Andrews.
Aye.
Tillman,
Aye.
Bryant,
Aye.
Greenwald,
Aye.
all ayes.
Motion passes. Do I have a motion to waive the second and third reading of this ordinance? Motion does not pass. Item number 10, motion to approve the initial reading of an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Keokuk, Iowa by adding provisions pertaining to panhandling. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
Enact an ordinance related to panhandling. Do I have any discussion?
Background to what's going on with this and what the purpose is?
Sure, and the ordinance is pretty lengthy, so I'm not, hopefully you guys have reviewed it, I'm sure you have, but I can kind of give the framework for it. Recently, as many of you know, we've been having some issues with panhandling. We don't really have the ability to address that because our city ordinances lack any sort of ordinance specifically referencing panhandling. We have had many calls generated recently, as many of you know, and there is some severe frustration from our citizens. They're reaching out to us. They are making posts on social media. They have started a GoFundMe. I don't know what they plan on doing with that money, but they have started a GoFundMe because they feel like, specifically, they said the police department's not doing anything. We have been out there many times. We have enforced what we can. We've enforced a trespass when they were on private property and some other things. Again, there was some gaps because we either had to go by our current city ordinances or state code, meaning that, say, the manager of Pizza Hut calls in and says, hey, this guy's out here harassing people. That's not enough for us to arrest that individual for harassment because we need the person that was being harassed to come forward and give us the elements of the crime, which means that they feel like they were harassed, they were annoyed, alarmed, something of that nature. So what this really does is it is a fairly restrictive ordinance as it relates to panhandling. It has a time and a place specific, and it gives us the ability to find the person if they don't adhere to these rules. And it also gives us the ability to trespass them from public property, such as an easement. But actually, the ordinance requires you to be on a public sidewalk. So you're not even allowed to be on the easement, such as the corner of North Park Drive and Main Street.
Any questions or discussion?
I just have a comment here. As defined at the top of the page, point C says, "Public place means any sidewalk, street, alley, park, plaza, parking lot, or other location open to the public." Then we have point 133, prohibited conduct. Point 134, locations where panhandling is prohibited. And then point 135, permissible panhandling. And the first line says, panhandling may only occur on public sidewalks or parks not otherwise restricted under section .134 and must be conducted in a passive, non-aggressive manner. Well, if you go back up and look at the ones where it is prohibited, the only place that leaves them to, in my interpretation, be able to panhandle is in residential areas because you have businesses blocked and parks blocked, financial institutions. Am I just not interpreting it correctly?
No, I think let's use Wendy's, for example, because that is one place where an individual has.
You're going to have to get closer to your microphone.
Sorry. Let's use Wendy's as an example because that's one of the places where an individual has been panhandling recently. The restriction is 30 feet away from the entrance of that business. Our sidewalk on Main Street, I would estimate is further than 30 feet. So they would be allowed to do the panhandling on the sidewalk as long as they're not disrupting the flow of traffic on that sidewalk or impeding traffic. So you're allowed to be on a sidewalk on Main Street as long as you're not within 30 feet. So where that would be more restrictive is Lower Main because the entrances are right on the sidewalk. And I think that is by design because that is where your citizens are gathering and they don't necessarily want to be bothered by panhandling.
Okay. Any more questions or discussion?
This was run by the city attorney.
No, it wasn't.
You did run, this is comparable to what you found in other communities, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I compared multiple other city ordinances to make sure that we were following within the framework that we needed to be within. Like I said, this is pretty restrictive in nature, and that's by design. If the council would like to see some other language, we can certainly kick this to a workshop of some sort. The reason I presented it tonight as a finished product was simply because of the ongoings here recently. And if the council wanted to make a decision where it would give us an ability to address these issues as the citizens are asking for, then I needed to present a final product.
In regard to Mr. Bryant's question, if they've got money to take us to court, they don't need to be panhandling in the first place.
I think his question was, did I run it by the city attorney? Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you said that the ordinance says 30 feet away from a door?
It's 30 feet away from ATMs, business entrances, bus stops, and public restrooms. It's so essentially anywhere where people may be congregating, the general public may be congregating. It's keeping them out of that immediate vicinity.
So the individual that's out by Walmart they are over 30 feet away from the front door of any business.
They are. The issue with Walmart, though, is it does not have a public sidewalk, and this requires that you're on a public sidewalk.
What about on 17th and Main, in between the sidewalk and the curb?
That would be deemed public property, and you're not allowed to be on the easement. This allows you to be on the sidewalk. he could set up on the sidewalk as long as he's not impeding any sort of flow of traffic on the sidewalk. Where it becomes an issue is if he violates one of these other the other parts of the sections of the ordinance, such as an example, waving a hammer around and yelling expletives. That would be in violation, and we could then enact a violation of the ordinance, give him a fine, and trespass him from that location for 12 months. And then if he goes back to that location, now we would have a trespass violation, which could escalate the penalty and ultimately possibly result in them going up to the Lee County Jail.
So we have a first and a second. Any more discussion? May I have a roll call?
Crenshaw, Walker,
Aye.
Mullen, Cackley,
Aye.
Dade,
Aye.
Andrews,
Aye.
Tillman,
Aye.
Bryant,
Aye.
Greenwald,
Aye.
all ayes.
Do I have a motion to waive the second and third reading of this ordinance?
So move.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 So roll call.
Roll call. Okay, I need a
Crenshaw?
roll call.
Crenshaw, Walker,
Aye.
Mullen, Cackley,
Aye.
Dade,
Aye.
Andrews,
Aye.
Tillman,
Aye.
Bryant,
Nay.
Greenwald,
Aye.
8-1.
Motion passes. Item number 11, consider resolution approving,
Enact.
oh, I'm sorry, we need a motion to adopt. We need a motion to adopt and give the final approval of the ordinance.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item number 11, consider resolution approving the annual fiscal report for the fiscal year ending in June 30th, 2025. The annual fiscal report, the annual financial report for fiscal year 24-25 is complete and is being presented to the City Council for approval. Do we have any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 12. Consider resolution approving the amendment for the Timea Street Engineering Number 2. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
The City of Keokuk recently awarded an engineering contract to Bolt and Mink Incorporated for engineering the Timea Street from 22nd to 7th Street project. Preliminary plans have been submitted and reviewed, and it has been determined to be in the city's best interest to separate the combined sewer within the project limits to prevent stormwater from the project from entering the sanitary sewer system to help comply with the federal EPA mandate requiring CSO separation. It is necessary to prepare designs and cost estimates for the new sewer for Kaiser Park to Timea Street. The city is also required to have a facility plan suitable for Iowa State Revolving Fund, SRF funding, which will be prepared by Bolton and Mink Incorporated. I would therefore recommend that the city amend the original agreement with Bolton and Mink Incorporated for the designs and cost estimates for the new storm sewer from Kaiser Park to Timea Street, from 18th Street to 8th Street, necessary roadway reconstruction and parkway resurfacing above the new sewer from Kaiser to Timea Street, and the facility plan adding $233,000 to the fee for the total maximum fee not to exceed $696,250. Do I have any discussion?
I have some questions. Who created the document that was provided to us about the job descriptions of the consultant? Who presented this paperwork to us?
The consulting firm,
The engineering firm?
they're here if you'd like to ask them questions.
Okay. So if they prepared it, they're telling us what we need to be doing, is that correct? It defines what we have to provide for them, et cetera?
It provides what we would have to provide, and then it provides their scope of services.
Their scope and services. So they're telling us what we need to do for them. And in a project, it appears to me, I blindly accepted the 428,000 earlier, and I've had some serious thought processes taking place since then. If I have a project that I'm going to do for my own home, I'm going to be aware of the cost assessment of labor per hour, the materials that I want going into the project, et cetera, rather than having a contractor tell me what needs to be done. And I just have reservations. We see the figure of $233,000 and really no justification for how many hours they plan to spend on this project. It says here at the bottom of our chart that we were given, performance of services will be modified as follows or as set forth in the agreement such that all services will be completed to allow for a construction bid letting in the fall of 2026. So are they going to take a whole year to create?
I would
This
say
design-
it will take them a better part of a year, yes, and then we have to have different thresholds we have to meet. We have to turn into the DNR by December 1st of this year to even be eligible to bid it, and then by June of next year for the funding that we're seeking. The whole reason for the pushback is because the application deadline for our funding through the state FRF loans, CDBG and BIL is December. And then
Of 25.
December of 25. We can't physically do a bid letting or any construction work till after those funds are awarded, which I believe would be June or August of
I think
26.
it's June for CDBG.
June of 26. So that puts our bid letting out to around October so we can do construction in 27.
And what funds are we referencing? Because we've got the bond issue for the
So
construction.
we are applying for funds to cover the sewer separation portion of the project,
Okay,
which is all these additional costs that we've been bringing forward, has to do with us wanting to separate the stormwater so it doesn't go down to the wastewater treatment plant.
is that right? Okay, so I think you've answered me that there's really not been any cost line item analysis. So has there been any attempt to negotiate downward any line item costs, or do we just blatantly accept the $233,000 estimate and march forward?
We have not negotiated with them, no. We're on it. I mean, we can and prolong this and probably miss our deadline and then lose funding.
Okay,
We're trying to get a $6 million project, so we're only going to have to pay around 3 of it.
I thought we were only trying to get enough to cover the sewer separation end of it.
That would be around, what, as Jim stated earlier, $2 to $3 million of the project's going to be the sewer separation.
Is that the 2.5 that's on the resolution?
The
No.
budgeted $2.5 million budget is what we budgeted in that line item to spend in FY26 on all of our street projects. We won't spend any construction dollars on Timmy Street until 2027.
Okay,
So out of our $5 million bond in '23, the $3 million we bonded for this fiscal year, we only budgeted 2.5 million of that for FY '26 to spend. The rest of it's still in our coffers for the rest of the street projects.
Okay. I have some concerns about these additional services that are going to require extra monies if they become necessary. It seems to me like it says sanitary sewer design. Hello? That's what this whole project is about, is separating the sewer. So if they come up with needing more money for sanitary sewer design, what are we paying the
We're paying
money
them for
for.
stormwater design right now.
When we do a street, if there's a sewer under, we need to do the sewer. Otherwise, we're gonna run into what we done on Fourth and Bank. We jackhammered out a new intersection, and then we put in a sewer, and then we put another street on top of it. So we need that done. We need the sewer done before we put a street on it.
So if we know that we're needing it, why wasn't it included in the beginning set of specifications rather than being something listed as an additional cost?
We won't know if we need any sanitary sewer design until we allow them to work on the project on the sewer side.
And you need,
Technically, there's no sanitary sewer that runs down Timey Street. Our mains are in the alleys.
Well, I thought that was the point of going on one of the numbered streets. Was it 14th?
That's how we're gonna get down to where we're already. So the city back in somewhere in the mid-2000s separated the Soap Creek Basin, which ended at 14th and Palin. From 14th and Palin down to Soap Creek, down to the plant, that portion of our sewer system is already separated. What we're trying to do with this project is take the basin that we're in now, which is approximately 192 acres of storm runoff and groundwater. We're trying to separate a portion of that. We're going to tie it into the Soap Creek Basin so it goes directly to the river and not to the
I
city
understand
plant.
that.
So that's why we have to go down to Palin.
But if you just look at all of that list, it just appears to me that it's,
I mean, you would ask, David's here if you want to ask the technical
he's
questions.
waiting to be asked for when it should have been a part of the project to begin with.
Well, when we were beginning of this project, we didn't talk about doing sewer separation. Actually, we didn't discuss sewer separation until Jim started.
But wasn't it because at first it was just going to be mill and fill? It
Right.
wasn't going to be just mill and fill. And then that changed, so that's why this changed.
And then talking with Tom and then our team that's doing our CSO, for us to be able to separate 90 some odd acres of water off is drastically going to help our EPA mandate. That's why we incorporated this portion of the project into Timey Street.
And I got to ask, from 18th to 21st, there's not any work going to be done there with?
There's going to be road work done,
But
but there's no existing storm sewer right there right now. The storm sewer system starts at around 18th.
Okay, all right.
Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
All opposed?
Hey,
Item number 13, council liaison reports. Anybody?
The Keokuk Cultural and Entertainment District has Kilbourne Band Fest coming up on Friday, the 12th. It's going to be at 6 p.m. out at Kilbourne Park. They'll have 4 bands set up at the corners of the park there, and it's gone on a handful of years now, and so they're looking to continue that good event.
Sounds good. I think I went last time. It's kind of a offset of the
Yeah, it's,
Back Alley
it's,
Band Fest, right?
yeah, it's an offshoot of Back Alley Band Fest, and the intention was to get it in a different section of town that tends to not have some of those events take place, and so that's why Kilbourne Park was identified. And I believe this is the third year for the event now.
Anybody else? Item number 14, staff reports. Pam? Tom? Ryan?
Just quick updates on our two ongoing construction projects, one being the Riverfront Trail. It's going well. They've poured approximately 700 square yards of trail to date. They're pretty well on task to be done in their working day period. Grand Avenue also going well. They are projecting to start pouring the first section of that either next Thursday or next Friday.
Brandon Newland, who was hired by our department, started the academy this last Tuesday. He is a resident of Keokuk, graduate of our high school, and he is set to graduate on December 19th. We were unable to complete any FTO or field training prior to him going to the academy, so post-academy, he'll have about another 12 weeks of training, and he should be on his own if everything goes well, mid-March.
Could I go back to Brian? Devin, you had asked a question in regards to the seal coat project that we did.
Oh, yes, with the white gravel that we put down, is there a cost difference to put down the brown?
So we're actually looking into that. I spoke with Tom, the street department manager, and also Ed, our foreman, who's our longest city street employee right now. To his knowledge, the city has only ever used the white chips. But Tom is looking into the cost differential between using the river run rock, which will eliminate the dust. So we're looking into that right now for in the future.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Jim? Okay. Item number 15, new business. Item number 16, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Meeting is adjourned, and we do have a city workshop. Take about 3 or 4 minutes. Yes, sir, I'm hearing. Sure. You just brought them in to my office and we did it. No, that's not.
I would say this week or next week, so I'll come in.
Okay, let me know.
Yeah, thank
That's
you.
fine, not a problem. Okay, that's over with.
Not a problem. Thanks. Bye.
What day?
Wanting to know when my driver's gonna do a pickup. Well, I saw what it was. I wanted to get it because they're gonna just not deal with it. FedEx wanting to make sure a pickup is occurring in Omaha. Look, I don't ask them if the driver is, if I get there, I'm like, I don't know. I haven't talked to him since March.
Evening, I cannot do Tuesday.
No matter what.
And get them to quit calling.
Well, like if we're between 11,
Yeah.
I'll just step away.
I'm wide open in that. As long as I can pick the kids up at 3:15.
Yes.
I gotta remember that. School has started back up.
I have to set myself an outlook
Mhm.
reminder on my calendar, and I still haven't done it yet.
What day was it? Tuesday? Yeah, it was Tuesday. I'm sitting there at work and it's like 2:00 and I'm like, I'm forgetting something. There's something I have to do today. Now it was 2:00, not 3:00, so that's fine. Then I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta pick the kids up today.
Do you have to do the early release on Fridays? Where they get out at one?
We do not. They regularly have late Fridays, but they do have once a month. It's typically the last Tuesday of the month that they're done at like noon. And it's when my kids go to KCA, so it's when they do the food bank out there every month. They get the kids out of there before people
I
start showing
have
up.
to do Fridays early release from George Washington, and it's out at one. But Della is at St. Vincent's, and she doesn't get out until 3:10. She's full day Monday through Friday.
So you have
So
two
now
different
on
pickup
Fridays,
times.
I have to remember to do 2 pickup times. I'll figure it out.
Yeah. I have it worked out where I got to get them Tuesday, Wednesdays, Fridays. But Mondays, I've got work all through the evening, and then Thursdays with council meetings. So I've got those 2 days coming. It's not too bad, though. I mean, it gives me a forcible reason that I have to leave work. So without that, sometimes I end up sticking around.
Ready, guys? Let's go. I'm going to call to order the City Council Workshop, September 4th. And we have 2 items on the agenda. And item number 1 is discussion on finance items. There you go. can send mine down if not. Is there enough? We'll share. We're fine. Okay.
Just wanted to have a kind of talk about where we're at budget wise and some of the dynamics going on. This is not designed to be something that we're needing to do any decisions on, but just to give some context as we go through this budget year and into getting ready for next. And part of this context is not necessarily for the 10 individuals who are sitting up here. Some of you are going to be up here at the end of some of your seats are up here not running. It's just going to be a different council at a time we get decisions really need to be made. But I want to get some information out for people to be thinking about what where we are budget wise. I give you a sheet of paper that has way too much information, and I apologize for that. But I want to look at what our actual numbers have been over the last few years. These are not designed to be overall information, it's just some contextual. So I want to I looked at expenditures that we had in fiscal year 2022, which is ending June 30th, 2022. Fiscal 23, 24, 25, we just finished, and then our current budget, fiscal 26, and then just some initial looks of what fiscal year 2027's, which is next year's budget, may look like. Way too early to be doing next year, but some of this is really what we're going to be seeing. What I wanted to talk about was just what has happened over the last few years. The driving force for how we finance the general fund is property taxes. Our property base valuation that is available to fund operations in the city, the annual growth in that value that we can use to fund operations has had a growth rate over the last 15 years of an average of, if I'm not including the tip value, which is separate, non-tip, is negative 0.4% a year, which means our taxable base that we use to fund operations is actually increasing every year. That's part of the reason why down at that bottom of that sheet that I showed you, you see an overall levy that was back in 22 was $18.55. And in 26 it's $26.26. Our base value is half. We're not seeing any growth. So if there's any increase in cost, it's got to be funded somewhere, and that's been by increasing levies on things, mainly on insurance, general property insurance, and the benefits levies for health insurance, Social Security, the city portion of Social Security, IFRS, or the 411 retirement system for police and fire, as well as health insurance. And so if you think through the idea that the property tax values don't go up, the base levies that we have what's called the 810, the base levy to fund operations. The property taxes coming off of that has been pretty much flat for the last few years, and will likely be flat next year as well. Other things that have been flat, the franchise fee. We started our franchise fee and implemented that in 2022. That brought in an immediate increase to revenues in the general fund of about $1 million a year. Well, that $1 million a year has been the same amount every year. It's not increasing either. So that's another one of our major revenue drivers has been that stayed really flat. I kind of wanted to look at make a comparison with one of the drivers on the expenditure side. just to give some dynamics for thinking about, looking at salaries. Back in 2022, we spent just shy of 4.1 million on payroll, well, just salaries, not the benefits, just the salary side. Given the wage increases set in contracts for next year, FY 27 will have a total salary amount of $5,050,000. That's almost just like 30,000 shy of $1 million increase. While revenues aren't really changing. Well, when we put in the franchise fee back in 2022, when it started, it was fiscal 23 that was really fully there for us. You can look at what happened for net revenues. In 2023, we had net revenues of $960,000. 2024, we had net revenues of $1 million. Part of that is timing on where projects are in dollars, but it was pretty much in those years. 2025, we lost $150,000. This year, we're set to lose, I showed $935,000 when you're a month in or 2 months in the year. It's not appropriate to know exactly where we're going to end up, but it's going to be closer to that number. And I put a little note underneath that when I did that. And part of that is we spent $500,000 we're going to spend on the second half of being on the fire truck that we received the insurance reimbursement for last fiscal year. So, you know, a little over $500,000, that's really a timing issue in budget years. The actual loss in this year is looking to be about $400,000. Next year, in a way too early number, I put 700,000. I feel more comfortable saying it's all over $500,000. So as we're going into looking at what our budget is, given that most of our revenue items have been fairly constant, and some of our cost factors are growing at, well, more than flat amount, we're seeing that general fund go from where we were seeing several $100,000 a year in excess, to now we're looking at several $100,000 deficit moving into the future. That's not sustainable. That is a problem that needs dealt with. We can look at adjustments over a little bit of time, just given the fact that the general fund has a cash balance. So it's not like we're dire and run out of money this year, or, you know, so we do have some time with that. But I also have to throw out, as part of the discussion, I want to bring up the court case that we dealt with here in Keokuk back in 2004. And it has to do with how the local sales tax money is used. Back in the fiscal 2005 budget, the city looked to put a portion of local property sales tax. So local property sales tax in the city of Keokuk, 10% is for, I can't remember what the wording is, beautification, or you have to know what it is. Off the top of your head, I can't remember what it's about. Seeing a case for beautification or cultural improvement, I can't remember the exact number. The type of thing that for us, we use what we can say that we're using the money for is to support the library or recreation. We have some of that stuff. But when we went to go to the local sales tax place, we said we're going to use 10% of the money to be in for that type of project. We said that we were going to use 40% for infrastructure. And the remaining 50% was going to be used for property tax relief. Back in 2004, the fiscal year 2005 budget apparently was the first one where we were budgeting and transfer a And somebody's brought forward a complaint saying that we didn't have a justification for that being property tax. And when the state appeal board looked at it, how we're using money, they said, we can't find evidence of any levy that we are that we're using this money to offset that we can justify saying this is property tax. In order that we return that money from the general fund back to local option sales tax. If I were to go and look at what we're doing now, we are putting that 50% over to the general fund. Again, we're putting all of it at $750,000. And I can't point to a levy that we're reducing that's being offset. We are fully levying every employee benefit levy and cover our full cost of employee benefits in the general fund. I can't show a project that we could potentially fund with debt service levy that this is going to offset. I just don't have something to show for that. We don't have a justification for why that money is going into the general fund, is what I'm getting at. And not only that $750,000 do I have an issue with, the 40% for infrastructure, that's about $600,000. We need to have justification for what we're spending that on that is infrastructure related. Now, this current budget here, I can say we have a match on the airport. We've got a match on the trail project that are infrastructure projects. Those I can say justify an offset of some of that infrastructure. But we generally don't have infrastructure projects being funded in the general. As we move forward, we have to be able to show what we are offsetting, what this money is being used for, where that is related to what we want to vote these on originally and sold the local sales tax to the public. There is an option that we could in the future request, the city could potentially request a change in the distribution of local sales tax to the voters and ask voters to approve that. We can change the language to say we can approve this using this for whatever purposes the city chooses to. That would allow us in the future to just put it into the general fund operations. But currently, we don't have a justification for doing that. That is an issue that's going to have to be addressed as well as we move forward. I'm not asking for anything to be done tonight. I just want these things to be out there and thought about as we move forward with how we're doing budget in this next cycle. Those are dollar amounts that the local office sales tax we put between the infrastructure and that property tax levy. We're putting 1.3 million into the general fund every year. Yeah. And put that on top of the budget that's looking like it's going to be over $500,000 or potentially over $500,000 on the back next year. That's $2 million, well, close to $2 million between what we're budgeted to spend and what we have coming in. That's more than we can handle. So this is a significant issue. It's not that we can't work through it, but it's one that we need to start thinking about. Not looking for anything to be done tonight. And again, a lot of this is about what is this that council is coming in next year, or whether they're going to have the council sitting here next year. What are they going to have to involve in them as a group to try to work through decisions? I think there's going to be some difficult ones. There's options for additional residents to be looked at, but there's also a discussion of what are some potential changes and how it's done that are going to have to be addressed. I know I'm throwing a lot of, I just threw a lot out there, and I know that that's kind of overwhelming, and you probably have questions as to whether I'm talking about it correctly. or even how to think through what to do with that. So I'm not asking for a whole lot tonight. This is more about trying to get stuff out there, and as you have questions, to bring it forward. I think it's something that the finance committee will need to have some discussions about. And start, I think that's a good format for questions to come up and we to start working through whatever options that we look at moving forward. But I think the whole group as a whole and the community needs to be thinking about these are the major issues that need to be dealt with here. Anything else?
No, I think it was well explained, and I like knowing that we got the numbers in front of us to look at what we need to do. So as a whole here, we can usher in, the new council and maybe some guidance on how to and what to be thinking about. Thank you.
Anybody else? Then we'll head to item number 2, discussion on proposed ordinance regarding food trucks, push carts, and peddlers/solicitors. Take it away, Pam.
Seth is putting me to shame with his ordinances. So after I got to reading other ordinances within Iowa, I kind of had more questions as far as, I know that the code revision commission didn't want, they said we could get rid of the peddlers, transient merchants. And I got to thinking, is that even legal? So I need to do a little research on that. Most of the communities I've looked at, everybody has peddlers, but they restrict them quite a bit. And the restriction on such as Comanche, and thanks Jim he sent some stuff out on, it's called Grapevine. It's just, yeah, there you go. So they actually they just go ahead and put in their language as far as Iowa code. Iowa code actually requires, if you go door to door, you have to make sure that you have available to them information through the state that you hand to them, that they can cancel an order within so many days. So what the response came back from, I don't know if it was their city clerk or their manager, was that their ordinance / application more or less weeded out the people that, were not legitimate. So I guess I will still look to make sure, if that we can actually just say, no, we don't want them at all, and that's going door to door. And we can also limit the time that they're able to do that. If we can't just say, no, we don't want that. So that was pretty much on my peddlers, the food truck, push cart. I got to reading on cottage foods, and Gina is here, Gina Parrish. She wanted to know about putting a cart out in a residential area to sell like cookies that she would make. And I know I've seen people do this. I guess I don't really see this as any more than like somebody having a yard sale. But I just want to make sure that the ordinance is defined correct, so we're not out of control in that situation. Do you guys have any comments on that type of thing as far as?
I know when we were talking about food trucks and the likes, that the county issues like a license, a health inspection
Mhm.
that has gone through. Does that also apply to push carts or, these large scale ongoing bake sale type setups?
So a cottage food, the state of Iowa, I don't know, it's probably, I don't know, it's been 2 or 3, 4 years ago that they came out with, a person did not have to have a license through the health department, and a cottage food is considered something that doesn't have to be kept hot or cold, and is shelf stable, like breads, jams, and they have quite a bit of, they have to label what they put in it. They have to, if it's pickles or something, they have to put the acidity. They have to do all kinds of things to do that, but they don't actually have to go to the health department to get an inspection or anything of that nature. They can only sell directly to, they fix it at their home, and then they can only sell it directly to the consumer. They can do it from their home or like 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 the farmer's market. But I didn't know, doing it from your home, just putting it on Facebook and somebody says, I want this, and they do a porch pickup or something as putting out a cart, and somebody coming in and, I believe you were saying maybe self-pay, Gina, on something like that. So I just want to make sure I'm covering our bases on that wouldn't be out of control for the community. Other than that, I know you guys said no on public property for food truck vendors. Push carts, of course, I think push carts would pretty much have to be on public right of way. I mean, if you're on a sidewalk or something, or are you wanting them to be like in a parking lot also? Or something of that nature. I want to make sure got this all before I really bring it to you for a vote.
Is this something that the group would like to see come back to the ordinance committee that works on this? Or to the council as a whole directly too? It seems like there might be a little bit more discussion that you're looking to do.
Yeah, I think there probably is more discussion, and I know that Steve had also wanted to get back together in the code revision for noise ordinance. You think, you guys want to get back together, or?
Okay.
Okay. I will put some stuff together. I'll get that together and then I'll set up a meeting. You guys can come in and review it, see what you think. If you don't think that, it's something that you're looking at, we'll change it and then bring it back.
So Pam, are you in the position where you're still looking for direction from the committee, or you are pretty close to maybe having a rough draft to shoot by them and just see what their opinions
I
of
just
that would
wasn't
be?
comfortable with, and I will talk to the city attorney about the peddler transient to whether we can actually just say they cannot be within our community. And then I think really everything else, other than I just wasn't really sure about like the farm stand at a residential property, which maybe that's more zoning than it is, as far as a food vendor.
Like, how does someone selling sweet corn out of the back of a pickup truck fall into
Exactly.
all this?
It's not really any different. And I think that this ordinance here actually it says a food establishment is all it actually says, means an operation that stores, prepares, packages, serves, vends, or otherwise provides food for consumption for the purpose of this chapter. Food establishments do not include prepackaged foods that are not non-potentially hazardous, a produce stand which sells only whole, uncut, fresh fruit and vegetables, an establishment operating a farmer's market if potentially hazardous foods are not sold. And then a residence in which food that is non-potentially hazardous is sold for consumption off premises to the customer, provided the food is labeled and identified as the preparer. A private home that receives catered or home delivered food, childcare facilities, food establishments and hospitals, healthcares are not subject to these regulations. So, I mean, most of them do. Like you said, the food stands and that type of thing, they're not required to actually get a license.
So where do like youth groups, et cetera, fall if they're trying to sell candy bars, popcorn containers, et cetera?
So
Can we
that
put an
yeah.
exception for them?
That would actually, I believe, be in the peddlers, transient merchants, and they actually would be on this one. People, tangible personal property or services as fundraising tools in connection with education, religious institutions, patriotic, recreational, or benevolent organizations are exempt. So there's quite a few distributing newspapers, personal property. If you have like cosmetics, Avon, that's exempt as far as this one actually says if you actually own a home, you reside in the city that you're actually selling the cosmetics in. There's several different types of things, but those are actually in the transient merchant ordinance.
Okay.
So they do persons selling or offering for sale homegrown fruits and vegetables. We can probably just put it all in one ordinance and yeah. So I will make sure it gets ready in the next couple of weeks, and then we'll just give it to the code revision, let them look at it, and then we'll bring it to the city council in ordinance, if that's okay. Okay.
Anybody have any questions or anything? Thank you very much, Pam. With that being said, let's go home.